Hello everybody and welcome back to the channel. This time I got a doozy for you. Before I get started, let me remind you, or if this is your first time, let me advise you that if you like what we're doing and you want to support us, or if you want to talk to us directly, you are welcome to join us at our Patreon meetings on Sunday afternoons. Now that would be afternoon American time, evening European time. And in these meetings, you can talk to us directly, ask us questions, share comments. You can talk to other members and seek advice on certain issues that relate to immigration or life in Europe. And it's a great way to show your support and to encourage us. So hopefully we will see you on Sundays. There is a link in the description down below if you'd like to join us. Having said that, let's jump into an issue that started in my hometown of Florida. Now, well, I guess Florida's not a hometown, it's my home state, but my goodness. They really breed them different down in Florida. I almost wanted to title this video, "This Bitch is Crazy," but I was overruled. It wasn't family friendly, so I'm not going to refer to this woman as a crazy bitch. But nonetheless, let's talk about Ana Paulina Luna. This is a woman who was recently elected in Clearwater, Florida, in the 13th District. She is in the United States Congress in the House of Representatives. I want to say only Florida could create this kind of a situation. It might not be true, but this young woman, military veteran, is very interesting. She has started a crusade, a moral crusade on restricting access of adult pornography, and she has definitely made it a theme of her existence to go after anyone convicted of any sexual crime harming children. On its surface, we all want to protect children. On the surface, we all would support that kind of legislation, but this lady takes it to the extreme, and it just really, really, really bothers me that this woman is holding herself up as a moral crusader when she got herself elected after being a stripper and using photographs, campaign photographs that, in my opinion, are wholly inappropriate. And the reason I say it's inappropriate and the reason it annoys me, because I really don't care if a woman wants to show off her body. It's her body. I really don't care. I'm not that kind of a prude. But on the one hand, for her to sexualize herself, to encourage voters to view her as a sex object, for her to then turn around and complain about, well, I don't want to be viewed as people shouldn't view me as a sex object. People shouldn't view women as sex objects. She literally wants it both ways. She's just a hypocrite in the extreme. And before I talk about her specific bills concerning sex offenders, I want to point out a couple things. First thing I want to point out to you is in her short term as a representative, with regards to criminal laws, she has enacted, she has proposed, she has written 0 laws that have anything to do with crimes other than sex offenses. She is hyper-concentrated on sex offenses. Now, I read a couple interviews where supposedly she has said that she was sexually abused as a child and that's her motivation for doing this. And well, if she, and I hope she was not sexually abused, but if she was sexually abused, maybe that explains why she views her body as a sex object that she can use to exploit men to get votes, maybe. But it's interesting that nowhere in her biography could I find that. I only found that in interviews of other people referring to her. So I can't say that she ever actually said that. But the second part of that is, if she was sexually abused, and again, I hope she was not, then she has no business being a legislator and trying to pass laws concerning these issues, because clearly she cannot be objective. Clearly she is using this sort of legislation to work her way through her own problems when really she just needs to go see a therapist. I don't think legislation is the place for someone to take out or resolve their personal demons. So the that's one of the important things is, as a sex abuse survivor, if she was, then I don't think she should be involved in passing these kinds of law. But the other thing is the bills that she has written and proposed are just ridiculous. I mean, they're almost laughable. For instance, she has a bill that she is proposing called the No Toxic Chemicals in Makeup Act. Woman, is that really all that important? There are wars going on. There are culture wars going on. There are people who are homeless in the United States, homeless veterans. There's an energy crisis because of the prices that are soaring, and you're worried about toxic chemicals in makeup. Only a stripper could care about something like that. Another bill that she proposed is the Stop Spoonfuls of Fake Sugar Act. Oh. And that's not even counting the bill she has proposed to award President Trump a congressional medal because of his great leadership. So I hope that gives you some kind of idea of what kind of representative we're talking about here, or what kind of person she is. Because this young lady has proposed three particular bills, House Resolution 7955, 7956, and 7957. They're very short. They are very brief. They are very short. And maybe that's a reflection on her ability to compose sentences or write documents. I don't know. I'm not going to judge her on that. I'll judge her instead on the content. Basically, what these bills do is take every federal sex offense, and do away with the current sentencing structure and give the judge only one of two options: either sentence the person to life imprisonment or sentence them to death. So mere possession of child pornography is enough to get someone the death penalty under this woman's bill. It certainly is enough to give them a life sentence. You know, I have never been quiet or shy about saying that people who commit horrific sex offenses, truly horrific sex offenses, need to be dealt with, and generally that requires incarceration for long terms. If someone is truly dangerous to the community, then they need to be kept away from society. I don't have any problem saying that. I also believe that people who violate the law and harm innocent people or vulnerable people need to be held accountable for their actions. I'm crystal clear on this. But I am also crystal clear that not all offenses are created equally. Because, I use the example that there are people I know in prison right now who truly, honestly believed that the woman that they met in the bar and had sex with, who presented an ID card, it turned out that that person was carrying a fake ID in order to get in the bar and meet men. But these guys were nonetheless prosecuted for soliciting minors or, sexual conduct with minors, even when these guys had absolutely no idea. Because in case you don't know, at least in Florida, not knowing the age of your victim and later finding out that the person was underage is not a defense. You are just as guilty as if you knew. That's written right into the law. So there are people who are in prison on what I consider to be minor offenses, minor sex offenses, that here in Europe would either not be offenses at all or would have resulted in civil fines, not imprisonment. But according to this woman, we need to just lock everyone up in, give them life sentences or give them death. What really, 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 really annoys me about this is in her bills, she talks about the massive explosion in, sex crimes. But wait a second. At least in Florida, where she is from, the laws have been so tough on sex offenses for the last 30 years, starting right around the early 90s when I first went to prison. The laws are so strict and so out of whack that the most minor of offenses can land you in prison for a very long time. And then, of course, there's the registry. That's not even counting the number of people on probation or parole, which is very restrictive, or the people who have been held beyond their prison sentences because they were deemed to be too dangerous to release. Every single time they pass one of these bills or come up with one of these controversial laws, they tell us this is going to reduce sex offenses. But over the last 30 years, it hasn't. This hardline approach is not working. And so if getting tough on crime in the 1990s and having that trend continue didn't change anything, if sex offenses are continuing to increase in numbers or percentage, you have to at some point take a step back and think maybe the system they've put in place about getting tough on crime isn't working. I'm just throwing that out there. I cannot see that this legislation will actually pass, but the fact that one of these people will actually try is a really, really sad statement. It's just amazing that in Europe we have a far lower level of crime, especially sex offense crime. We have fewer sex offenses, meaning defined by law, and we just don't have the craziness that's going on in the United States. So maybe the getting ridiculously tough on crime thing just isn't the answer. Maybe we need to start trying a humanistic approach. Maybe we should start trying to believe in people. Just saying. These kind of laws really drove me out of the United States. This just, it's out of whack. It's unrealistic. And I wasn't happy with my situation, so I did something about it. I moved to Europe, and I am exceedingly happy here. I'm far more happy than I was. And I'd like to close out with saying just that. If you're not happy with your situation, do something about it. And join us on our Sunday Patreon meetings. If you have something to say about the laws I just read about, please feel free to join us. Until next time, my friends, I thank you for watching our video, and I hope you learned something. Until next time, auf Wiedersehen.